As a wise man once said, more money, more problems. The Bible says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And people often misquote it thinking that it says they cut off for the love of, and they say money is the root of all evil. But for the love of money, when you love money, and you pursue money, and you chase money, and you place money above everything else, you love it, you treasure it. That's the root of all evil, because as in your pursuit of money and vanity, we often lose ourselves. We kind of lose who we are. We forget who we are because we're trying to gain money and trying to build a life that we can dream of. We all want to be on the lifestyles of the rich and famous. That's a throwback. I don't even know if that show's on anymore, but we all want to live these exorbitant, extravagant lives. And some of us will do whatever it takes to achieve that. And in the process, we lose who we are. It's just like what Jesus said. What good is it for a person to gain the whole world, but lose themselves in the process, lose their souls? What's the point? What did you actually win? And it just kind of goes to say that a lot of wealthy people are miserable. On the surface, it looks like they should be happy. We kind of think that money solves all things, answers all things, right? And we think that the more money you have, the happier you will be. But that's not the case, honestly. As I really kind of sat back and thought about it, and to put it into perspective, uh, recently America went into a daydreaming frenzy when the Mega Millions and the Powerball was $2 billion put together. Like the Mega Millions is 1.6 billion, and the Powerball is about 4 or 5 billion, a million or something like that. So together, there's about 2 billion at stake here. And I'm not gonna lie, I bought a couple of tickets, but and my fantasies kind of just went out there. I prayed about it. I was like, man, God, if you let me win, I do this, I do that, blah 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 blah. And like, we always have these ideas and promises of what we do when we get the money. Like when we get it, we think that we'll do all these great and wonderful things, and that's not always the case. I remember I prayed about it. Like I said, I was like, God, all right, if you let me win, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, but God, whoever you allow to win, I just pray for their wisdom. I pray for them and their families. I just hope that they'll do good and be responsible with the money, because that's a lot of money. So eventually, someone won. They won. It was like 900 million, but then after taxes, it was like it took home like 400 some million. That's a lot of money. Still, I know people complain about that, but that person is $400 million richer than what they were. So I really can't complain too much about that. But anyway, uh, and I remember hearing stories about how winning the lottery actually ruins people's lives. Like, you would think that it would be different. It would enhance their lives, but it also actually makes people more miserable. And it's kind of hard to fathom. But as you kind of step back and think about it, just like, yeah, I can see how a person can be miserable, because like everything that you once could do out in the open, like, you can't do anymore. People would just come and just beg you for money and tell you all their sob stories, trying to scam you. And it's like all these things is like, and you would have a good heart and want to be kind and help people. So, but there's so many vultures out there. And the other day, but prompted this video was like the other day, I woke up and I read this article about this former lottery winner. I forget his name. Uh, his name was Jack, I think. But he ended up he won. He lived in West Virginia, and he won the lottery in the early 2000s, about 400 million or something, or 300 million or something like that. And he'll take it home like 100 million. Anyway, so he won, and as he picked up his check, he promised to do all these wonderful things with the money I was gonna help build a church and help people in need and donate so much, this, that, and the other. And prior to winning, Jack was a family man. He was in a happy marriage. He loved his wife. Everybody thought they were made for each other. Uh, he had a granddaughter that was his world, as he said. But like all of their lives changed once he won the lottery, and uh, the granddaughter had to drop out of school because it's like all the attention that her grandfather winning this lottery brought, and he was all on the news and everywhere and getting interviewed. It's just like he was just famous, and so as it come to turn out that as time went on, this well-intentioned person soon became drunk with power and his fame and his wealth. And whereas he was kind and wanted to help people, and people came, like I said, try to scam him, tell him these stories like, oh, my child has cancer, this, that, and the other, and I'm trying to do this, and it's like, and just people just bombarding them with their requests, and it's like things just changed. And he would go out to strip clubs, he would get drunk all the time and flash his money. And then what's even more heartbreaking though was his granddaughter. Like, his granddaughter ended up becoming a drug addict, and like she would just blow money all the time and get on these really hard drugs, and her friends would be around, and she would just give her friends money and they would all get high and stuff. And so it so happened that one of her ex-boyfriends ended up overdosing on drugs, and when she tried to go to the funeral, the other kids didn't want her there. It was a mess. And then it's even more heartbreaking was that she ended up overdosing on drugs, where it's like she went missing, and they didn't find her for like 2 years, but her boyfriend freaked out, wrapped her body up in some stuff, put her like in the woods, and just kind of just left her there, and they ended up finding her. But it's like, it's just sad. Like, it's just a sad thing. It's like, you wouldn't think that having that much money would bring so much grief, but it does, because money changes not only you, but it changes everyone around you, because everybody wants that. They want a piece, because life can be so miserable. Life can be hard, and we just think that money would just solve all our problems. And so not only did this granddaughter just lose herself in the fame and drugs, you also had the marriage dissolve, and Jack just became a freaking borderline rapist, where he would just try to pay women to have sex with him or just to unveil themselves. And it's just like, it was just sad. It was just a sad story to read, but it was also like a warning. It's like, we often think that these things would satisfy us, but they only create more problems, and it only heighten what it is that's lacking in all of us. And whereas on the surface it seemed like this man had a solid foundation, where he was talking about he wanted to glorify God with his money, that soon wasn't the case, because the money and the fame, it won over. And as I sat and read that, I was like, okay, it's like, and I started thinking, like, how would I respond if I had won 1.6 billion? Like, would I be able to maintain and sustain my family? It's like, I would, on the surface, I think I would, but then I think about like my nieces and nephews. It's like, man, I was like, how would they respond? Like, would they be able to handle the new lifestyle? I think about my siblings, like, and my parents. It's like, if I won that much money, would they be satisfied with what I allotted them? Would they be disappointed and want more? And it's like, you have all these relationships that will be strained, because people will feel entitled to having more. Like, this is all you're going to give me? Like, what? I'm not saying my family's like that, but I'm saying that's the potential that's there, because people would expect more. And not only your family, your immediate family, and you got cousins, and you have aunts and uncles, and then you have close friends, and it's like you want to help so many people, but it's just like you always have that possibility that people would not be satisfied with what you give them. And then you have to ask yourself, it's like, would it really be worth it? Would it really be worth sacrificing all those relationships just to have millions of dollars? And then you can sit back and see how celebrities can just be so miserable. It's because they can't do normal things. They have to be undercover. They have to either send people to do things for them, or be in disguise. It's like it's a miserable life being a celebrity. And it's just like I just wonder, like, why can't people just allow famous people to live? Like, can you just let them be? And then when we don't let them be and they snap, we just, oh, well, I'm not a fan because look how it's like, yo, like, they're trying to just have a normal time with their family, and you're all in their face. Like, give them, there's no boundaries with people. And it's like people outside of the circle just feel entitled as well. It's like, you would be upset if people kept bumping into your personal space. So why don't you give them that same respect, even though they are a celebrity? And it's just like, yeah, money does answer all things, but money does create a whole lot of problems, money and fame. And it does change people. So I set out to say is that no matter what happens, we should always be true to ourselves and make the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is being rooted in Christ and just having him just lead us, and not being so high-minded and don't think that we're so strong on our own, because we're not. Because all it takes, like I said in another video, one bad day, but also all it takes is just like there's so many temptations that come that will come that we aren't aware of, that we think that we're maybe strong and be able to stand up against. Like, look at Solomon. You know, Solomon had all that he wanted, and look what happened to him. It's a warning to us all. More money, more problems. Anyway, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, just think about it. You know, just don't be in such a rush to obtain your goals and your desires to where you compromise who you are. And yeah, always be true to yourself. To thine own self be true. Anyway, love you guys.